Hi Grade 12s, I'm John McBride.
And I'm Joyce Poko.
Today we're going to do an acid-base titration. A titration is the process of gradually adding a solution of unknown concentration to an amount of standardized solution until the reaction is completed.
We use this process to determine the concentration of the unknown solution. In this case, we will determine the concentration of solution of sodium hydroxide.
The titration will be run against a standardized solution of oxalic acid.
Okay, let's first deal with safety aspects of this investigation. Oxalic acid, like all other acids, is corrosive. It reacts with zinc or iron or any other reactive metal. For humans and animals, oxalic acid is an irritant to the eyes and skin. More importantly, oxalic acid is extremely poisonous.
You must not come into contact with this acid. Don't let it get on your hands or skin or on your clothes, and don't breathe in fumes of this acid.
So, we need to wear gloves to protect our hands and safety goggles to protect our eyes.
Sodium hydroxide is also poisonous. It is harmful if you breathe it in, it can burn your skin, and it is fatal if you swallow it.
So, there are two reasons why we need these gloves and goggles during this experiment.
Let's put them on.
All right.
Looking cool.
What should be done if you have an accidental spillage of either of these substances?
Well, you must rinse with running water. Mop up the spillage with paper towel from the lab supply and rinse the affected areas with tap water before drying it.
If there's a spillage, you need to report it so that your teacher can help you deal with it correctly. The good news is that we're using solutions of very low concentrations. This ensures that no one is in great danger, but it's essential to follow the prescribed precautions for everyone's personal safety. Now, let's look at the apparatus.
This flask is commonly called a conical flask because it is shaped like a cone. Its laboratory name is an Erlenmeyer flask. Obviously, it's named after its inventor, Emil Erlenmeyer, who first produced it in 1860. This flask is our reaction vessel.
We start off by adding 25 ml of oxalic acid to the flask.
You will notice that we are using a pipette with a pipette filler. The filler sucks up the liquid into the pipette and it saves us from coming into contact with the acid. Remember that this acid is toxic and corrosive, and it would irritate the throat if we didn't use this filler.
If you overshoot the mark of the pipette, it's easy to adjust the volume by carefully releasing a few drops until we have the exact volume of 25 ml.
Okay, are you there?
Just a few. Yes, I'm there.
Now release the 25 ml into the conical flask. There we go. Well done. And now add 3 drops of phenolphthalein indicator. Notice that the indicator is colorless in the acid.
Now, we'll put the acid aside and make some space here. While we set up and prepare the burette with sodium hydroxide solution of unknown concentration.
First, we rinse the burette with distilled water. Be very careful at this stage that the tip of the burette doesn't bump the side of the basin. The tip of the burette is fragile and brittle, and burettes cost quite a lot of money.
We need to handle the burette with care. Now that the burette has been rinsed with distilled water, we need to rinse it with sodium hydroxide solution.
We'll take a small amount of the sodium hydroxide solution. Remember, we don't know the concentration of this, and we're going to rinse the burette a couple of times. Let it run through. And let's get the whole burette rinsed out. Tip it up, tip it down, tip it up again, tip it down. Let's run it through. Let's do another sample. Oh, don't ever forget to close the tap on the burette. It's running straight through. We don't want that. Let's tip it again. Let's add a little bit more. There we go. Thanks, Joyce. It's running through nice and smoothly. I think that should do.
That should do. A titration is a precise experiment. We need the solution in the burette to be absolutely pure, undiluted and uncontaminated to be able to get reliable and accurate results. It's time to set up the burette in its stand.
Right, let's move things out of the way. Now the burette stand is a special piece of equipment because it allows us to secure the burette and allow it to stand vertically. So you see it clamps in two positions to hold the burette in place. There we go. Because the burette is so tall, we prevent spillage by putting a little funnel at the top end when we're filling it up. Right, I've put the basin below, but here we go. Putting the funnel up at the top. Take the same beaker, same concentration.
Let's check if it's not open.
I've lifted the funnel so the air can get in, so it pours in nicely. I'm going to fill just past the zero, about 3 milliliters past the zero mark.
All right. Now we will check for air bubbles and make sure that there is no air bubbles in the space below the tap.
There's a little air bubble. Let's tap it. And let's open the tap carefully. It's running through nicely now.
Oh, nice.
So we've released the air bubble.
We need to get rid of that, otherwise our measurements will be inaccurate.
But I see the tap's dripping, so we need to make sure that it just runs smoothly. Just because if we lose the volume, then it won't allow us to be accurate.
Okay, let's check the level of sodium hydroxide and set it exactly at 0.
Let's run it through until we get to 0. There we go, right on track. Finally, we wipe the tip of the burette with a piece of paper towel.
Every drop makes a difference if we want accurate results. We are ready for a trial run. This first attempt will give roughly the amount of sodium hydroxide that we need to react completely with oxalic acid.
Right, let's get the acid into the place. While we run the sodium hydroxide into the flask, some of it may hit the sides of the flask. We need to wash every drop of the sodium hydroxide into the reaction vessel. We're going to use the distilled water to do that. None of it must escape, or else our measurement of volume will be inaccurate.
So, we swirl the mixture, close the tap for a moment, and wash the side of the flask with distilled water.
Let's wash the sides. That's looking good.
We now need to add more sodium hydroxide. Open the tab and let's continue.
You'll see that there's starting to be a little pink coloring This is the indicator saying that we're getting close to the endpoint. The endpoint is reached when the indicator in the solution changes color permanently. You'll see that as more sodium hydroxide is added, there are sudden flashes of purple-pink color in the mixture. These flashes of color tell us that we are approaching the endpoint.
Now we move cautiously and begin adding drop by drop to the flask. We will carry on adding gradually sodium hydroxide until just one more drop causes a permanent color change of the indicator. This is the endpoint of titration.
The endpoint of the titration occurs when the indicator changes color. It is the closest we can get to the equivalence point. Let's just check that you know the difference between endpoint and equivalence point.
Now we read the volume of sodium hydroxide added to the flask.
The volume is always read at the bottom of the meniscus. We can see that the volume is 36,6 millimeters.
This is a rough estimate of the endpoint. We will now repeat the titration 3 times and establish the endpoint more precisely.
Let's clear away this apparatus and get ready for the next run. We use a clean, dry, conical flask and add 25 milliliters of oxalic acid to it.
We top up the burette with sodium hydroxide solution. Check for air bubbles and zero it again. This time we have a rough idea of how much sodium hydroxide we need to add. So we can allow the sodium hydroxide to flow freely until we approach the volume at endpoint. At this stage, we add sodium hydroxide gradually so that we get a more accurate measurement of the volume of sodium hydroxide at the endpoint. Okay, here we are, almost at the end point.
Let's work drop by drop now and wash each drop into the flask with distilled water. Do you need to drop it at the top of the tip of the burette? And the color remains, and I think that's the end point.
This reading will be used to calculate an average volume.
Record the volume in the table of results. I'm going to place a piece of cardboard on the burette to help you get this reading. I'm not going to read out the reading for you. I'm sure you can read that yourself. We need another 2 readings so that the titration results are reliable. I'm going to fast forward to the endpoints of 2 more titrations. Are you ready to take the readings?
Titration number 2. Record the volume in the table of result. Titration number 3. Record the volume of sodium hydroxide used to reach the endpoint.
And that's all the results we need to take. Now learners, answer the questions on your worksheet. Remember to hand your worksheet to your teacher before you leave the laboratory.
This assignment forms part of your school-based assessment for matric. We wish you success in this task.